Welcome to Traveling with a Chair. If we're meeting for the first time, my name's Ken Edmonds, and I talk about travel. I think that there's a lot of anyway. I write about travel, and I wanted today to talk about some of the challenges that came up on a couple of my last trips. Some things that they're things that I knew I should do. They're just things that I forgot to do, and so I thought I'd share them with you because it's quite possible they're things that will apply in your lives as well and in your travels. The first thing that I forget to do, and it's happened the last two trips, is I forget to notify the credit card company that I'm traveling out of the country. You wind up being out of the country, you go to use your credit card, it's declined, and now you're left in a situation where you've got to get a hold of the credit card company and get them to enable it so that you can use it out of the country. In my last travel, we tried to use it on board a cruise ship, and then in fact set up our account with it before we sailed, and we got on board, and all of a sudden our account stopped working. We had to go down and get it repaired. It's not a big deal, but it's very inconvenient and can be kind of embarrassing. The second thing, and again, it's kind of associated with that, and that is getting your phone set up for traveling. In particular, if you're traveling abroad or you're traveling on a cruise ship, if you have international roaming turned on and you're not paying attention, what happens pretty easily is you go in and your phone's automatically checking data and racking up some fairly significant bills pretty quickly. In fact, I saw a post today from someone that it was like $15 a megabyte of data, and a megabyte doesn't go very far. So in our case, again, we were on the cruise, and what happened was we wound up in a situation where we had left international roaming on, and we hadn't set it up to be able to use our phones on the cruise ship. And my wife and I both got notifications that we'd gone, used over $100 worth of data already. We were about halfway through it. We were fortunate that AT&T was very kind, worked with us, and turned on, basically put us on a plan that covered that. And then we made sure we turned off international roaming. And again, it wasn't that we were using our phones for anything, but the phones were set up just to automatically check for email and some of the kind of routine things that you might use it for. And it just was sitting there silently sucking up data. So on a cruise ship, or if you're out of the country and you don't have it set up, you want to turn off international roaming, or perhaps even put it in airplane mode. That's what we started doing when we got back on the ship every day. We put it in airplane mode, that way we didn't have to worry about it consuming data. Again, these are fairly small things, but they start to be expensive pretty quickly. And the third thing that I wanted to talk about was it was something that we did, but we didn't do it as effectively as we could have. And that was my choice when I booked a cruise, because we took my wife and my granddaughter and I went to Alaska on a cruise. And what we didn't do very effectively is when I booked the cruise, I booked insurance through the cruise line. And then we booked a lot of excursions that were not through the cruise line. I tend to do that, to book direct and set up my own excursions. Well, we didn't need the insurance this time, so it didn't hurt us. But had anything happened on one of those excursions or something come up that would have prevented us from taking an excursion, since it was not booked through the cruise line, the insurance wouldn't have covered it. So the one thing I recommend to everybody is that when you book your cruise, or you start to book a trip out of the country, anywhere that you might need some insurance coverage, I would use, I recommend Insure My Trip. That's who we use, and there'll be a link in the description of this for that. But you want to do something to safeguard your trip, to protect you. And I don't recommend using the cruise line's insurance because in general it doesn't provide as much coverage and it's a little more expensive. And like I said, I booked mine through the cruise line this time and everything worked out okay. But it's one of those things, it's very easy to overlook. and then you wind up in a situation where if you really need it, you don't have the coverage that you really want. Those are the things that came up this trip. I wanted to share them with you. If you've enjoyed the video, please go ahead and hit the like. If you have any questions, you go ahead and post them in the comments. I will take comments from anybody that has any, or answer some questions real quickly. Also, if you haven't subscribed to the channel, down in the bottom right corner there's a subscribe button. So please go ahead and hit the subscribe button. We've got a lot of new videos coming, a lot of interesting things, and there's going to be a whole series on planning cruises and all of the various components that go into place with that, and we'll be doing a lot of those as live videos. If you're watching this on the replay, go ahead and hit put a comment and hit the like button, and what will happen is I'll be able to respond back and answer your questions if you have any. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.